Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, after Marlon Vera's 4th round knockout of Dominic Cruz this past Saturday, he reveals why he was so confident ahead of the match. Here's the clip.
Honestly, me and my team, we really think the way he fights is kind of like very low level. Like there's no base, there's no good stance. All that movement side to side, like I'm like, we told each other, we have to kick this guy's ass. But by saying that, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. I just believe that style is not the best style for MMA. Maybe for boxing can works better, but for MMA you got way too many weapons going. And what he does well, he mixes takedowns with that movement. That's when he's successful. But I was like, it's gonna be hard for him to take me down. So we were pretty confident, but we knew this fight wasn't easy.
Did you get a cut on your hand?
Yeah, I tried to don't talk about it. When I was getting my hands wrapped, my man house by accident caught me. It's a little cut, so I did freak out a little bit. You know, you're getting ready for a fight, you're wrapping your hands, you're kind of like, you're punching there, so you're just trying to keep your mind right. And then when I saw the blood, I was like, the first thing I look at coach and I was like, I ain't gonna pull out insurance plans, I'm good. Because people can be like, oh, I can make it, you know, find a way out.
There's been a lot of speculation in recent weeks as to when we will see Jon Jones make his heavyweight debut in the UFC. While Stipe seemed to be the opponent Jones would face, in the last few days it seems like it's now likely he will take on Francis Ngannou. Ariel Helwani recently came out and said that the UFC would like the final fight of Ngannou's contract to be against Jon Jones. This is in the works for UFC 282 on December 10th, however the UFC is aware that Ngannou may not be ready for this date. In a recent video uploaded to his channel, Michael Bisping has brought up the idea of a possible fight between Nick Diaz and Conor McGregor. Here's what Bisping had to say.
The first one that springs to mind, I'm just going to come out with it and you might think I'm crazy. Conor McGregor.
The main thing to succeed in this game is to either be me or fight me. Everything else is peanuts.
Nick Diaz versus Conor McGregor. We never thought we were going to see Diaz versus McGregor 3, but here we go. But it's not the Diaz that we all thought it was going to be. Diaz, Nate, is fighting Hamza and he'll be out the door. He'll be down the road. He'll be doing whatever he wants to do, fighting Jake Paul, fighting Vertical FC. We don't know. I'll tell you what I do think. I think we might see Nate Diaz come back to the UFC and re-sign one day. But that's another video. We're talking about Nick. Conor McGregor, okay? He's fighting at 170. He's bulked up a lot. He's put a lot of weight on. I don't think he's going to see 155 anytime soon. With McGregor, there's talks of this Floyd Money Mayweather rematch in boxing. Dana White has shut that down. He said, I would need dementia to get involved with that once again. And the reality is, he's under contract with the UFC. So if that's not going to happen, he's going to come back, McGregor, and he's going to fight. He wants to fight. And you have to respect that about McGregor because he's got a ton of money. He doesn't need to, but he loves it, okay? Nick Diaz is the perfect opponent. They're both 170. It's a winnable fight for both men, right? Nick Diaz will bring it each and every time. There's an epic storyline because he already beat up his little brother.
What do you think about Bisping's matchmaking? Is this a fight you'd like to see? Let us know in the comments below. Daniel Cormier hits back at Darren Till, who took to Twitter to suggest that DC should not commentate the upcoming lightweight title bout between Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. Darren Till tweeted, Charles versus Islam, what a fight. Just don't let DC commentate. To this, Cormier replied, Darren, I expected better from you. I've called multiple teammates fights, and honestly my commentary doesn't affect the judges or anything, honestly. Most times my team is mad at me because they feel I am too much in the other direction. Do better, Till. Darren Till then replied to Cormier tweeting, I was just joking. I only said it for likes and retweets. Hope to see you there commentating. To this, Cormier replied, I forgot who I was talking to. I'm sorry I was drunk. In a recent interview, Chael Sonnen spoke about Dana White's favorite moment in UFC history, back to a time when Dana White was a manager and not the head of the UFC. Here's the clip.
Dana White did an interview, guys. I want to say it was with GQ magazine. They asked him a question, what is your favorite moment in the history of the UFC? Now, Dana said the night that Chuck knocked out Tito. It wasn't for the glorious moment of Chuck. Dana was frustrated with Tito, want to see him lose. Now, as a fan, I generally watch to see somebody win, but in all fairness, there has been a handful of times where I'm watching to see somebody lose. So I thought that was an interesting statement, but I knew all about it. Like when Dana said it, it didn't come as a surprise to me. I find out from you guys, you don't know the backstory. We got new fans. I forget that sometimes. This backstory is very interesting. Tito Ortiz was the champion within the UFC. Now, when Tito was the champion, the UFC was very different. There was very few guys. It wasn't international business, wasn't what it is now. However, if you're telling the story fair, Tito was the best. Tito not only won that championship absolutely dominantly, Tito maintained that championship absolutely dominantly. Now, there was a story, and Dana used to be a manager. If you guys are new fans, perhaps you didn't know that. And he was the manager of Chuck and Tito, who were friends and training partners. So Dana goes on to be the owner and the president of the UFC. He started as a manager, so he starts in the workout room with these guys, trying to get these guys contracts.
In a recent episode of the Believe You Me podcast, Michael Bisping and Anthony Smith react to comments made by Islam Makhachev, who claims Oliveira was forced to sign the fight contract.
Was it Makhachev says that Charles Oliveira initially turned it down?
Yeah, so Charles Oliveira was, according to Islam Makhachev, was going to Dana White saying that he wanted to fight Nate Diaz or Conor McGregor for the lightweight title. He kept getting no's from all of them, and eventually the UFC had to come back to Charles Oliveira and say, look, if you don't take this fight with Makhachev, we're going to match up Makhachev versus Chandler for the lightweight title, and that is what got Charles Oliveira to sign on the dotted line to go fight Makhachev in Abu Dhabi.
But that's according to Islam Makhachev. And who was he saying that to? Was that, I know he did a sit down with DC recently. Was that with DC? And again, that's according to Islam Makhachev. Now, I'm not saying that, he's a liar. I'm not saying he would dream of doing such a thing. He's a man of honor and God and religion and principles. But still, a little bit, so it goes a long way.
Well, even if he was, I don't think for a second that Charles Oliveira is afraid of Islam. All those names got big, juicy paychecks connected to it. So I would, especially because the UFC's given him his pay-per-view points. So even though he doesn't currently hold the title, they gave him his pay-per-view points for his last fight and leading into this fight as champion. So if you get in there with Nate Diaz, you get in there with Conor, he's chasing checks. So
of course he is.
Why would you not do that first? If you can get a Conor fight or a Nate Diaz fight and you're the one holding the pay-per-view points, do that. I'm not going to be mad about that for a second.
Alex Pereira recently came out and said he believes that Adesanya won't make it the full 5 rounds in their middleweight title fight at UFC 281. Pereira said, "I can tell you that it will be impossible for him not to engage if he's within my reach. I will hurt him. In 5 rounds, he won't make it. I can come close. You can see in the fights that I come close. I have a very good defense. He will want to attack or counterattack, but I can hurt him with my defense too. I saw in his fights that he kicks a lot, and the guys don't have the right time. You can hurt him with a block. The guy kicked, you blocked, maybe he won't kick anymore. He's got a big weapon, and I can sort of eliminate it from the beginning." Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.